Hello everybody, it's Gabe from 8-Bit Slider here. Today I was going to do a little bit of a walkthrough of the configuration menu for Pro Yaku Spirits 2024-25 on the PC. So the config screen has gotten some people a little bit confused. You can easily just change the language to Chinese, Korean, and English. So you don't actually have to translate this. But if we're gonna have a little bit of a walkthrough, this is full screen, windowed full screen borderless, and then just windowed mode. Then you can select the resolution. I have a 1080p monitor, so I got these three settings. Now the FPS setting probably has some people kind of wondering. So the game is made primarily for consoles. As we know, it's on the PS5, and the game engine actually relies on the frame rate for all the physics calculations and everything. So whenever you're in gameplay and you cannot hit the 60 FPS kind of like target, instead of getting stutter as you would in other games like missing frames and just kind of a jittery kind of motion, instead you get a slowdown, and that basically just means that the game isn't running fast enough for everything to calculate. You can get a similar effect on some emulators when you try to run games, so the game runs slowly rather than running at full speed but being jittery. So if you have a very underpowered PC, you can select 30. I have a GTX 1070 and an i7 4790K, so my PC is very old, and I run 60 FPS on 1080p. Works fine for me. I only get slowdowns in the cinematic kind of panning scenes that you get before, when a batter gets to the on-deck circle, or sorry, before they get to the batter's box and stuff like that, or panning the audience in between plays. Sometimes you can get those slowdowns. Here you have the graphics settings. So this means middle or medium, high, very high, and then custom, where you can select your own kind of things. So I'll take this in English. It's going to be easier anyways. So like I said, GTX 1070, I get 60 FPS pretty just constantly throughout the gameplay with these settings. So max spectator quality, I really recommend to have this on max or high because the audience doesn't look that great on its own. It's a lot better than the show in my opinion, but it's still not great. So if you have this low, you'll just have some really blurry, blocky looking spectators, and you won't have the same diversity, but you will have FPS drops when panning and looking at the audience during all of these non-gameplay kind of cinematic panning shots, because the level of detail settings in this game, I don't know why, but they show like full detail of every spectator, but I still have it on max. Otherwise, I just get irritated looking behind the catcher and the umpire and seeing weird looking spectators. Face model quality also high. I don't think this impacts frame rate that much. If you have enough video RAM on your graphics card, it shouldn't make a difference. And then there's the shading. I still kind of haven't understood what that is. I'm assuming it has to do with making kind of the graphics look like they have more depth, like with reflections, but not really, like just how, the depth of a face looks, because there's always going to be shadows on somebody's face during different scenes and things like that. So I'm pretty sure it has to do with that. I have it on max. Foliage is just, grass and stuff. I don't know what this does. I have to test it out a little bit more, but I have it on max. I haven't noticed anything. I used to have it on medium. It kind of looked the same, so I'm just testing it out. Effects, and the rain is awesome in this game, so if you can, please put it on high or max. I have it on max. I get slowdowns due to kind of like the pools of rain and stuff in the cinematic shots, but during gameplay it's fine. Textures, I think this is also something that doesn't impact frame rate that much. It's basically the resolution of the textures and how good they look. I have it on max. It works fine for me during gameplay, like I've said. If you have 8 gigabytes of VRAM or thereabout, you should be fine. Shadows, I used to have this on medium, and now I have it on max. Also something that this game does pretty well, and Unreal Engine does pretty well overall. This game was made in Unreal Engine, is shadows, and they look great on max, so I recommend it. But it's something you can live without. You'll just get less accurate shadows that might be blurrier if you have a lower setting, so this is something I would sacrifice. I have it on low. I don't recommend low. I'd say medium or high. Medium's probably a good trade-off because this does take up a lot of your frame rate. What it does essentially is just add the depth of field effects, adds glare, kind of bloom to certain shots. The game looks pretty unnatural with it on low, because when they zoom in on the pitcher, on the pitcher's mound, and you see the audience behind the pitcher, the audience is just as the pitcher is. And of course in real life you don't get, crazy amounts of like background blur on, shots like that, but you still get some, and it just kind of everything blends together. So don't have it on low. I think medium is a good trade-off. Anti-aliasing, this is something that you can live without. I put it on low. High, it just makes everything look blurry, in my opinion. I don't know what anti-aliasing method they use. I can't say for sure. I'm gonna put some screen or some text on screen here in the video editing if I find out what they put there, but I don't know what it is, FXAA or something. It just makes it look blurry. So I guess that's a bit more realistic. I mean, real life is not razor sharp all the time, and not something I should probably be talking about because I wear glasses, but I have it on low and it's a very sharp picture and it doesn't look jaggedy. It just kind of looks less refined, I guess. A little bit like the older games of like 2011 and stuff, like Picture Skyrim from 2011. It looks very sharp, not blurry. A lot of modern games, on the other hand, they look blurry. Now the sound tab, very simple. I have commentary system on. You just get the play-by-play stuff turned off. If you turn this off, obviously, especially the AI stuff, it's going to help you gain FPS, but like I said, my system is very weak and I still get good frame rate during gameplay. At worst, during dugout shots with a lot of like really high, texture modeled players and stuff, I can dip to around 30, but usually during these, walk-up scenes and stuff, I get like 40, 45, even 50. So I have this on. It's not a problem for me during gameplay. Speakers, stereo. If you have headphones or two speakers, this is what you should pick. 5.1, 7.1, that's if you have, let's say, a TV, for example, and you have, a proper surround sound system. Otherwise, don't touch this. Just put it on stereo. Then you just click start game and it's going to start up. The screen will actually show up every time you start the game. So when you find the settings you want to use, just click start game. One thing to note, I didn't talk about this, but I run borderless full screen. I haven't seen any real benefits to full screen. In terms of performance, it's kind of the same, and this allows you to tap out quicker. So I would just leave it there, but you can obviously change it to something else if that's what you want, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. So this is quite a long video, but I hope that it was somewhat helpful. Please comment if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to help everyone out. Also, I'm gonna link a really good Discord server in the channel description. It's not my Discord server, it's a friend of mine's. His name on Discord is The Great Muda, and he is a really nice dude, so I definitely recommend checking the server out. You can ask questions there and you can support him and get the full translation guide that he's working on, proper support and things like that. You can also find other like-minded people who like Japanese baseball and that you can maybe play multiplayer with. Keep in mind though, the servers are in Japan, so for most of us it's still going to be laggy, but then you at least know who you're playing against. So have a good day and see you guys in the next video. Peace.